Good afternoon. Welcome to the final Blakey's Bootroom of the season here on Wales Online. Steve and Nathan in the studio.
The new studio.
The new, kind of new look. We're kind of just a bit further up, aren't we? Maybe that's kind of the only...
Is this budget cutbacks?
It's got more uncomfortable chairs.
The big table's been sold, and now we've got the little ticket sold for firewood.
Hey, we went down, mate. You ain't got the same budget.
Yes, it's the championship thing.
Exactly, got to prepare for the championship.
Next week the seats are gone. Oh well. It was good while it lasted, though, didn't it? It was good while it lasted.
Indeed. Last one of the season, last day of the season yesterday, of course, and this being Cardiff City, it certainly wasn't a quiet one, was it? Never mind the action on the pitch. Vincent Tan, with a series of explosive interviews, comments, remarkable stuff, really. I mean, where to start, chaps? I suppose the big issue of the last few days...
There was a game on as well, wasn't there? They played a game.
It's not really the game. They were quite good in the game, but we'll come to the game.
Yeah.
Big issue, obviously, the kit. This week, the Echo sort of launching the campaign.
Back to blue,
Back to blue. In conjunction with the fans, and obviously Tan initially coming out suggesting that he'd be willing to talk about the kit. It was the
world's most successful newspaper campaign, wasn't it? 1 minute it was on the front page of the Echo, 24 hours later Tan was saying, okay, I'll compromise. But that's a bit tongue-in-cheek, but
it seemed a positive story to start with, didn't it? But the more you spoke to him, the more you delved into it. It was clear, and to use his words, and we will listen to his words shortly. He's prepared to compromise. But for some reason, not now, not until they're back in the Premier League, whenever that may be.
Next summer,
hopefully next season.
Yeah. But just one thing on that then. Okay, there's lots of caveats, and there's this must happen, that must happen. One thing we've always spoken about on here, you said it a lot about, I wish someone there would learn, would learn the game, would pick something up. Let's be optimistic, let's be benevolent to Mr. Tan. Is this the first sign that he is open to listening? To so far it's been, no, this, my way, do this, I'm not
Did say
perhaps for him this is a big step to say, okay, maybe, we compromise. I don't know, but it's a start.
When you got 150 million, that could soon turn to 50 million. Like I said last week, people tend to start listening and compromising when it hits their pocket.
But it is the first sign that he's willing.
I think it's it comes down to financials at the end of the day. The financial situation won't look great for Cardiff next season. On the commercial side, there's a lot going on. Rumoured people, certain staff are leaving and what have you. I don't think commercially the club is like flying at the moment. Plus, then you've got to add to that season ticket sales. They'll definitely be down regardless. Extending the stand is one thing, but you don't have a bigger stadium.
I was going the radio last night, actually, a financial expert putting it between sort of 30-40 million what you lose when you first...
40 mil, around about 40 mil they'll lose. Probably a bit more because of the TV money goes up this year. So, you get the parachute payment, yes, but, you generally try and put that back into the club to try and get back to the Premier League. So it tends to balance itself out. But like we've said, 9 times out of 10, rich people think they're going to lose their money, then they tend to listen, up until that point.
I mean, we say that, but the reaction certainly wasn't positive to Mr. Tan. Lots of people just seeing it as a delaying tactic. The obvious question, well, why not now? Why not do it now? Why wait? And even then...
Well, there is a change back in colour.
And he's not talking about a change back in colour. He's talking about compromise, and he says if fans aren't prepared to compromise, which we know they're not. The fans are not.
How do you compromise on that issue, though? That's what I don't understand.
This is where the suggestion is the red and blue striped kit or something ridiculous like that.
The good old traditional red and blue kit. I agree. I mean, we haven't even spoken about this idea of turning this debt into equity, which was one of which when this rebrand was first announced.
I've seen the chairman on an interview, might have been with the Echo or the Beeb, saying that was going to be done within 10 days. That was like about 3 or 4 months ago.
No, the latest now is Tan himself has said, is it only a third?
50%, yeah.
A third of it,
50 million.
Did he say a
something
third?
like that.
Yeah, which is a third of the debt. Of 150 million.
Keep 100 million
because 150 million,
which he thinks is reasonable.
That's of great concern. So you can understand, that's the problem that Mr. Tan has, is that when the rebrand was first introduced, there was emphatic things being said, the new training ground, that the debt to equity, this club will be debt free, this will happen. It's not just been, and it's not just been about, the colour.
Yeah,
it's the whole package. I mean, whatever, when you look at the season just ended now, one of the things that disappointed most people, Malky Mackay, should he have stayed, should he have gone, whatever you thought, the impression was from supporters that Vincent Tan was interfering too much on playing side of things, whether just or not, and his interference was part of the reason that they went down. I think all these things bundled together now have led to dissatisfaction. You've got pro-Malky Mackay people who are disgruntled by the way he was treated. You've got the original people who don't like the red shirts. You've got people worried about the finances, saying, well, hang on, this hasn't happened. Suddenly you've got a growing, catch-all, a feeling of against him. But I come back to one thing, maybe for the reasons Blakey's saying, this is important, I think, because it is the first time that Tan has shown that he might be open to change. I say might be. Come on, because all the way along it's been, I'll never change, I'll never be blue again. All that. Now, it's a door opening, but it's a little, ray of light there.
It's
maybe.
Do you know if I was advising him, I said it yesterday in the column, I think, and I said it on Saturday after the game. If you're willing to compromise on the kit colour, right? I don't see it as a compromise. I just think you have to accept that you took the wrong decision in the first place, right? So it's not a compromise. It's something that you don't deal with, or you don't look at as, if you don't look at that as that's a sacred part, you don't start playing 12v12 on a Saturday, do you, and have 4 referees. There's certain things, a pitch is going to have 2 goals, 18-yard box, not a 22-yard box. Certain things in football you just don't mess with, And I think as soon as he said now, or when I heard the interview now and he said, when we get back, I just thought to myself, next season, it's just going to be more like this season. Because what you're doing already is saying to the fans, we're going to have a battle next season.
Exactly, prolonging it. Yeah,
I just don't understand. Just accept that you're wrong, plus you're losing money down to this. Accept that you were wrong in the first instant, because whether you think Red was lucky getting us up, it's not so lucky taking us down. So dispel that myth. Accept, maybe marketing, we had this idea, it didn't work out. Spell it off how you want. Most fans will accept it as long as they see the blue kit back. And move on. Give the new manager, give the new players, the new team, an opportunity to really go forward without carrying all this baggage. But to me, it's still, it's not whether or not you're willing to compromise, you're just shooting yourself in the foot.
I mean, I obviously, who wouldn't agree with that? But all I'm saying, what I think is important about this,
that he's bent a bit,
that he has a little, the first sign.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Maybe what it's like when somebody does eventually back down to something. The first thing they do is maybe slightly, you don't come out and go, sorry, I'm completely wrong. Look at me, I'm an idiot. You start off by saying, well, maybe, if we, I agree. Without a return to the blue shirt, it's pointless, isn't it? A red and blue striped shirt. Well, it's nonsense. It's still the wrong kit.
Yeah.
That's it. It doesn't matter. It's the wrong kit,
You're missing the point. You totally missed the point.
But if, for example, then that could be moved on to a blue kit at home, a red one away.
Well, mate, we said that 2 years
exactly.
ago.
Exactly.
That's what we said. I played in red.
Is that
Cardiff City?
Yeah.
I played in the all red with a big splash of South Wales Echo across the front.
Yeah, good shirt.
Played in that kit, and we had a blue. Obviously the blue kit then the same. you know, we didn't use that red kit often, but we had the red kit, so I understand what, you know, there is an affiliation for us to red.
Yeah,
We've
yeah,
had
yeah.
it before.
Well, we had one more recently.
Right.
A
So
full
what I'm
red
saying
strip,
is, I don't understand why, in the first instance, we didn't just say, right, we're blue, but in Malaysia then, on the continent, we're only going to sell the red away kit.
I don't think it was about vouchers anyway, because I think that was the false thing. But okay, you said maybe this is the first step to that. If he's talking compromise, okay, there's this red and blue kit. No, that's not. But could he be pushed a bit further? Okay.
I would say,
okay, the blue kit.
John and tell you, well, I think will happen. Eventually go, to the red, change back to blue, and then, but we want to keep the badge the same. Rather than just saying, look, the whole thing was a bit of a nightmare, to be honest with you. Didn't realise the reaction I was going to get from the fans and the backlash. Didn't realise the kind of split it would create throughout the club. And everyone's suffering now, because you've got fans who want to be at the ground watching the game, don't go, won't buy their season ticket, so the club is suffering financially, so everyone's losing. So rather than just say, okay, the rest of the things we can sort, but I think that there is sacred. I just don't think you can or should have ever messed with it.
And of course, the thing is, as well, which we mentioned, but I've sort of forgotten there, is why isn't he doing it now?
Indeed.
What's all this stuff about? We'll do it. That thing. I think as the Echo says
Fans ain't
today,
stupid.
back to blue now. There's no reason not to. That's just totally delaying tactics.
Let's let people judge for themselves before we go to comments. Let's have a look at what Vincent Tan actually said to us yesterday about the kit.
After next year, then we will. And after next year, we'll see. I hope we get back to the Premier League. Then I will spend time and revisit this color change, and how we can meet the supporters group and find a compromise. And hopefully, with that, we can all work together. And if we cannot find a compromise, then maybe we have to find a way out. Maybe they don't want me, then maybe by then I should go.
Would you go for the blue and red in the same kit, a sort of Barcelona
style? Maybe that's possible. Yeah, sure. We'll compromise. Compromise means we give and take.
Yeah.
Compromise means it's like peace talk really. Yeah. Everyone must give in a bit so that we can all go forward. So I'll be prepared. I'm not unreasonable. I'm prepared. I'm not thick-headed or anything, but I have certain values.
Yes.
So you must also respect my values. Sure, you guys, you have values, so maybe we find a compromise. So let's see whether we can find a compromise, but don't talk about blue now. Just focus. Everyone should focus and help to support the team so we can go back to the Premier League. And it is possible we can go back. Ole is a good man.
There's the comments then from Vincent Tan. Let's have the comments from the fans then in response of that. Bring Back Blue just saying, I'm just sick of this now. Just feel like saying to him, just shut up, just shut up.
Oh well.
Saying it, the fans are weary of it. Tired.
Madden says, I don't understand why Tan wants to wait until we're back in the Premier League.
Was that Madden?
Could be. It could be another season of discontent. He says, Mark says what Tan actually means is please stop protesting about the kit as we want to get promoted again, and I can only sell the club and make money once we are there. Darren saying Tan won't compromise. We shall see. Other suggestions, the compromise should be blue home, red away. He's throwing bones to the dogs, says another person. There is no compromise, says Kerry, we just want the blue. Emphatically.
That's what I say.
Fair enough.
Absolutely. He's just playing games with us, says another. Alex saying red and blue is as alien to Cardiff as red and black. Blue and white are our colours. Absolutely. Chris suggesting that apparently the red kit has already been submitted for next season, so there's no option to change it now. I'm not sure of the full details on it.
I knew that. I did that. We did that last year, wasn't it? There was a date.
There was cogs going to must make a note and go and report on
must
that.
Get someone out there to find out and tell me so I can use it. I'm sure there. I remember when this was first done, there is some cut off with the football league or whatever football association. But I can't remember what it is. He could well be right, that guy.
Indeed. Tan was never willing to compromise at the time of the rebrand, so he will not compromise now. That's the reaction. Certainly nobody feeling positive after hearing the words of Vincent Tan on the colour issue there.
No, it's hard. I mean, you know...
Can't kidder.
It's as all I'll say is that you know, if I was to plead to be the optimistic one, and I'm not often painted as the optimistic person, it's the first sign, perhaps it's the first step. You know, maybe it's, you know, I mean, it is. It is a first moment of him saying.
I understand
maybe
what Tux is saying, but I am not as confident. I just don't. Like I've said, and all along on this thing, because I'm tired of talking about it. No one ever gave me mentioned football. No one ever gave me a justifiable reason for it. And you can't just turn 100 years like that and say, yeah, it's only a bit
what's Tan saying there, you know, when he talks about compromise, saying people have to respect that I have values and people must compromise with me. I don't get why the red shirt is
I like red very much.
This
is
it. You know, because I think that's a lucky colour, you have to change your whole club and your history because I think it's a lucky colour now. So when Mr. Tan walks away, you know, yes, everyone might say, the new owner will go back to blue, but there's no guarantee. Do you know what I mean?
He should have bought a red club in the first place,
there
obviously, shouldn't he?
Just not
if
red.
He's that into red.
If you understand football,
would have made
exactly.
Right, if you understand the game you're getting into, or you understand, you know, football, you're not going to buy a blue club and try and turn it to red, because straight away you're going to alienate your fan base.
And it's a hassle as well, as he's finding out. It's like saying, I want a red Ferrari. Right, I tell you what I'll do. I'll buy a blue one and paint it red. Yeah. Hey, look, don't save yourself the hassle. Go and buy a red Ferrari.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Cardiff City can be described as a Ferrari. Maybe
an old banger. What was Tan himself? I was looking for a Porsche and I got a Datsun. What he got? I'm showing my age there. Datsun.
And again,
younger viewers, it's
always interested to hear him say things such as, if we cannot find a compromise, maybe we need to find a way out and I need to leave. You know, there always seems to be that.
Yes,
well, maybe.
But that's you
can't listen. You can't do business on threat. Yeah, that's like giving you a half threat to me. That's like saying, like, if you don't do what I say, then I'm going to walk away. Listen, you know, there's not a fan out there, well, there might be one or two, but there'd be very few fans out there at this moment in time who wouldn't welcome him walking away then. So that's not going to work either.
He's always
just look at the whole situation and just, I think you're just better holding up your hand and saying, listen, as a marketing ploy, we went for it and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
Don't even have to apologise. We're going back to blue. We're going back to the original badge and original colour. End of. Move on. It's massive white elephant in the room that it keeps avoiding. Just, you know, close the door on it. One time, done. Don't drag it, prolong it, make it become a news story, and then this will be added onto it, and there's on Sky about this, and you're on BBC about that, and then this is in the Echo, because, you know, it's just, like I said, it becomes tiring.
Every time
it's been a tiring season anyway.
Rears his head, there's controversy, isn't there? It's just full-on controversy, and anger follows every step.
Absolutely. What about, I mean, the fans yesterday? It was good atmosphere, particularly with the blue. Never seen it as blue as that this season.
No.
Certainly, lots of blue people. Good. The balloons as well, which certainly helped stop Fernando Torres at one point.
I've never seen a guy get tackled by a balloon.
It was good. It was quite a decent performance from Cardiff on to focus on the football just briefly.
No pressure, was there? I think.
I thought Chelsea were in like reverse, to be honest.
I did. It was one of those games.
I thought Chelsea were in reverse, and I thought Cardiff, they were okay, but you know.
You were never convinced they were gonna.
It was a nothing game, John. It was like, you know, just go out there and get through the 90 minutes. And
get on the holidays.
Yeah.
Sun lounger.
Yeah. Again, you know, the goals, poor goals to give away again. You know, both of them. First one, lads got inside Declan, which I think we've said a few times this year.
We have.
That needs to definitely be addressed. You know, I was listening, and I heard I think it was Ian Walsh on radio saying, you know, great talent, great this, great that, and yeah, great going forward. And he is to me, he's a natural winger. You know what I mean, but if you're going to play him on left back, it's not fair on the kid at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? And yes, the kid will have some responsibility of trying to learn that position better himself. Someone needs to sit him down, go through some DVDs with him about, say, watch some like Ashley Cole on how he played that position, because they're very similar in their stature. And then, you know, get out on the training field and do an hour here, half hour there, especially now throughout the summer. So when he comes back next year, he can make that position 100% his own, as long as he works on his defensive part of the game. And it, you know, I'm not saying it to have a go or to nail anyone. I'm just saying it for the boys' benefit and the club's benefit at the end of the day.
Indeed. People missing, Gary Medell missing yesterday. Did we read anything into that other than supposed injury? Or?
Well, other than, as we know, he's going to go. He's going to leave. I think he's going to leave.
Yeah.
Cardiff.
Yeah. You don't have those things written in your contract unless you're going to exercise them if they come to fruition. So, yeah, I expect him to go. I expect him to go to the World Cup, have a decent World Cup, and then probably find himself in Spain or Turkey or something.
Yeah, and maybe a word on Sam actually mentioning it here. Great that Bellamy finished his career with a goal. We certainly don't know that he has finished his career, but we suspect.
Indications are that
it's a shame that was all a little sort of
died a death, didn't it? Really.
He hasn't said anything beforehand. Maybe he hasn't decided. I don't think.
Well, I actually spoke to Ollie this morning, and he said that as far as he knew, Craig was still considering his options. So
what are his options?
Does he want him to remain part of the squad? Does he?
What does Ollie want him to be? I don't know. He wasn't being drawn on that.
He's considering his options, but we haven't given him one. Well, come on, you
go or go. No, he's considering his options. The tendency seems to think that will be his last season at Cardiff, for sure. Or whether in the game or not, I'm not sure. But that looks like it was the end.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And what about
Probably.
just from I know you've just to tick off another thing you spoke to Ollie about this morning. Steve, you're asking what do the lads think about Javi Guerra? Is that how you're pronouncing it? Who's coming to us? Obviously, big name Spanish striker. Doing well in La Liga.
Scored 2 on the weekend.
For a deal that was signed a long time ago, there's been some doubts whether it would still come to fruition. What has he said on that to you?
I'll be surprised if that comes to fruition.
We spoke to Ollie this morning, and on the record, he said that he described the contract they signed as watertight, and that the guy is due in Cardiff this month when La Liga finishes for a medical, and will. Despite the relegation is not an issue, and he will be a Bluebird player next season. That's what the manager is telling us.
Certainly seems an exciting talent, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean he's 32.
Too good for the Championship.
He's 32.
Seems too good.
They're all too good for the Championship. They're all too good.
I'm saying. If you've got aspirations to play in the Premier League, just like you've just said with Nadal, and he's got something written in his contract to say if you go down. And it's not really for me because I don't really want to play Championship football. I want to play Premier League. That's the brand. That's what everyone loves. I'd be surprised if you've signed someone of that quality who's willing to come and watch the Premier League on TV but not playing it. I'd be very surprised.
Indeed.
And I know people say, you get plenty of times when contracts are already signed, sealed, and watertight and all that, but the player don't turn up, there's not a lot you can do.
Well, Ollie is incredibly optimistic to the point of saying yes, he's coming.
Let's hope
which
he
is
does.
reasonably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it looks like. I mean, I was just looking back through his stats. He's got good. He scores.
Good pedigree. He's a good
he
pedigree,
scores 32. So if he's in reasonable nick, he's experienced. If he's looked after himself, that's not an issue. So
although
that's
if he's 32 and someone's offering him a 4-year deal,
it's a 2-year deal apparently.
Okay.
But we will see how that one pans out. Let's talk, Ollie, and before we do that, we'll have another little listen to Vincent Tan. Obviously, he was asked about Solskjaer. Here's what he said about his future and the challenge he's setting the manager for next season.
Last night, so I have to work hard also. Last night, I spent 3.5 hours with OGS, with Ole.
Yeah.
And yesterday, I told Ole, I want you to continue, because Ole wasn't, of course Ole would like to continue, but he wasn't sure what's on my mind. So yesterday, because I've been busy, I didn't talk to him since we got relegated. So I told Ole yesterday, Ole, I want you to continue, but you have to bring us back to the Premier League next year, and I will help you, I will support you, we'll work together and bring it back to the Premier League.
Short and sharp from Vincent there. I suppose some backing for Solskjaer, or OGS as we all call him. Well, indeed.
That's one good thing.
So that seems it. But with the caveat, he must get us back to the Premier League, which is
easier said than done. You know, it's just not as straightforward as that. You know, Norwich aren't going to come down and allow Cardiff to walk away with it. Neither are
Malky Mackay's Norwich.
Neither are teams like, well, it's going to be QPR, Derby, or QPR playing in the
Derby look like they could be up.
Yeah.
Storm.
So it's going to be a real tough league next year. A real tough league. So, you know, like I said, one good thing is at least the manager and the owner are in unison. That's a start, you know. So we'll see how long it lasts. Hopefully it is a season. Hopefully we are at the top. But Championship, incredibly difficult, mate. Got to have some experience in there. We got experienced Championship players who, you know, now you've got to get their mentality changed back into a situation where, you know, we're going to play a totally different style to how you did last season,
he
and how you did when we went up. Yeah. So, you know, a complete overhaul, I think I said.
He's talking about playing his way out of the league. Solskjaer's pointed to like Leicester this year and Derby as well, he says, as examples of teams who've played his way.
What did he say this morning then? There were some quotes from him at the end of last week saying, I know I've made some big mistakes.
Yeah.
I mean, does he recognise what
coming here in the first place? He said this was a terrible mistake.
What was he saying this morning in terms of what he recognised he would need to change about what he does? The things we've talked about.
He's a little bit. He says one of the problems he had within the squad, he says, is that a lot of players are on the same level. You know, on the same. You know, there's not much difference between the whole of the squad. You know, they're all capable of doing a job, and he reckons that this is why, you know, he can chop and change and bring people in. But he's determined to, you know, he believes that the way to do it, I think, is still, he can rotate the squad, he can change things around, you know, adapt to different circumstances. You know, he doesn't see. I know that you're going to say, Nathan, that he you know, you get a unit of guys together and go, he doesn't quite see things like that.
Ollie.
Yeah.
No. Now I would say from experience, right, the Championship and the Premiership, so if Ollie's listening, take this in, the Championship and the Premiership, totally
different.
Get your
notebook,
right? In the Premiership, for instance, under Malky, the way we were playing was very defensive and not concede, but trust me, the team would have run out of legs by December, January, regardless, because the quality of the opposition, you're not going to be able to defend. Now in the Championship, it changes. You've got to have a more of a settled 16, 17, 18. You try and use those same players all the time. You're not looking to rotate. You only rotate for two reasons: loss of form, or three reasons: loss of form, tiredness, or injury. But you try and keep the same 11 as much as possible, and then you swap one or two when you know, right, he's fatigued. Because in the Championship, you don't need 22 players rotating. In the Championship, what you need for those 40-odd games is a settled 16 players, like I said, 18 players. So that's not understanding the two leagues. That's not, and it's not because he doesn't know, it's because he's never played in it or been in it. So, you know, having a successful career means that you've not learned across the board, do you know what I mean, what it's like in the lower leagues. But in the Championship, definitely, if I was giving Ollie advice, I would say to him, look, don't think to yourself, Premier League, 22-man squad, rotation. Don't think that way. Think to yourself, 16, 18 players, try and get my 11 lockdown as quickly as possible, because the first 3 months is vital.
It's going to be vital for him. He makes quite a big deal of his time in charge of like the reserves at Manchester United and loaning. People remember Danny Drinkwater, at Cardiff, just gone up with Leicester. He was at Man U then. I think Solskjaer was in charge, and he probably loaned him out at Cardiff. And Solskjaer was talking this one about as an example of his experience. Obviously he went and watched these guys, so he reckons he saw plenty of Championship football then, and was immersed in it, negotiating with clubs. So he makes a big deal out of that as an example of his knowledge of the Championship.
So.
And he spoke really well this morning. He was really good, really relaxed and all that. And because I said to him, all the people are saying to you, you're not the type of guy for a wet, cold Tuesday night in Huddersfield. And he was emphatic and said, that's exactly what I'm the guy for. He said, I love all that. I'm excited by that. I want to do that.
Yeah.
So, he's talking a good game at this point in time. That's all I'll say about it. But, I thought he was great today. I mean, I'll be honest, he won me over a bit. He's got I'm sure he's so happy to hear that. No, but I mean, there's one thing about him maybe doesn't come across is his enthusiasm for it does rub off on you a bit. He talks.
Well, I think you can tell that when you see it, whenever you see it, which is why it was so surprising it didn't seem to rub off on the players in terms of their performances.
Exactly.
It was certainly an odd one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
A couple of comments here. You mentioned Leicester. Leicester were organised, full of spirit, and worked hard for each other. Does this sound like Ollie's team? Don't think so. Perhaps a valid point there. The only way, Sam says, to get back to the Premier League is to spend big money for quality players. For the Championship, suggestion. Anne is saying we need experienced players. We need the likes of Kevin Nolan, Scott Parker, Chris Brunt, etc.
Lee
Cattermole, who I know you keep on mentioning. A suggestion to you that Cardiff are interested in Ross McCormack, who.
They're always interested in Ross McCormack. They've been linked with Ross McCormack so often. They should have just never sold him.
They never
saved the hassle.
Ross McCormack, are they really? Yeah.
They like Ross McCormack.
But certainly a big crucial summer ahead, and lots of changes, lots of comings, lots.
I tell you, just to go back a bit. It was good to see those young lads.
Oh, Tom James, and
Tom Jones and Rhys Healy. Rhys Healy came on.
That was nice to see.
Tipped for big futures. Yeah, a few teams did that yesterday, didn't they?
Yeah. So congratulations.
Well, I'm glad for them. Yeah.
Too early.
Big moment.
To read too much into anything. I would have thought.
Well, it is. It's just like for the first time we get on the pitch as a kid. Do you know what I mean? Just the first time we get on the pitch is just like, imagine you've played all your life. Never played in front of a crowd maybe of more than maybe a couple of hundred, maybe a couple of thousand if you played in a reserve game against Swansea maybe, and all of a sudden you're running out against Chelsea. Jose Mourinho. Mate, imagine Jose Mourinho is stood next to you as you're coming on, and you're running on to face the likes of Torres and John Terry.
Torres got tackled by a balloon. I'm not worried about it.
You know what I mean? So. Big congrats to those kids. Big,
I bet they can hardly believe it. Is it one of those ones where you can hardly remember what happened? Does it sort of go back in a kind of flash? Do you know what I say to them for experience, as if I was a mentor, just play the occasion. Yeah? Just play the game, sorry, not the occasion. Never play the occasion. Just play the game. You've got to have almost a sixth sense that blocks all that noise and the fact that Mourinho's there and you're running on and you're lining up against David Luiz or something like that. Mourinho.
You really, really, really got to put that out of your mind. So good luck to them kids. Really good luck to them.
Yeah, what a great thing.
See you next season.
I was excited playing for Fairwater Boys in my prime.
You and Fairwater Boys.
That was a hell of a sight, but I won't go into that now.
Yes, please, John. Carry on quickly.
You look as unimpressed as Dave Jones was when I told him about my Fairwater Boys.
Dave Jones. I mean,
he's back.
Let's talk about Let's talk about Malky Mackay and Dave Jones on the back of Tan's comments, because this was the main.
What year is
the main shocking stuff from Tan? Really was. A scathing attack on Mackay. Really.
Yeah, absolutely.
The type of thing we've all thought that he thought, but now he's actually come out and said it. And again, we can see it. Apologies for the Vincent Tan videos if that's not to your flavour. But I mean, really interesting just to see how clearly angry Vincent Tan still is about how this whole situation has been perceived?
I think the relegation, the main person responsible for relegation is Malky Mackay, the heroes of the fan. The fans should go and talk to him, ask him why he apologized. They should find out from him. Well, legally I'm not supposed to say. I wish I could say it, but I can't say. So go and ask him why he apologized, why he and Yan Moody, who think I've done so much injustice to them, apologize. Or to all these great fans, who supported him thinking he's such a big hero. Unfortunately, the hero almost killed this club if I have not put in more and more money. And frankly, like I said, I'm not really enjoying it. So, but we're not enjoying it. We have a responsibility. I just feel responsible. We got it to this. I've told Mehmet, no, I'm not really enjoying it now. And in fact, my family members think I should just sell and get out. And, don't even, why bother? No, people don't even appreciate. But sometimes you get into something, you have to go through it and take it to a good ending.
Why is Malky responsible for the relegation, though? Did he overspend?
He's responsible because I gave him a good, big budget to spend. He spent it on the wrong people. He brought in wrong people. We're supposed to have a main striker. What striker he brought in? 20-year-old, pay him 45,000 a week. We pay more than 10 million pounds. Well, 7.5 million is not the right number. We paid 10 over million for him. And guess what? The rest you guys know. You put him in, he hardly even start him. Why do you pay so much for a main striker and you don't even start him? And you pay him 45,000, more than Craig Bellamy. What kind of stupid decision is this? Is this a manager who knows how to run his business? No, I don't think so. People ask, why am I so angry? Wouldn't you be? If you hired somebody and this is the kind of performance. And the amazing thing is they say he's a hero. Oh my God. What kind of thinking is this?
Only because he took Cardiff into the Premier League. But
he took Cardiff into the Premier League. Why didn't he take Watford to the Premier League? Please. Because I put 15 million for him to spend.
Oh, that's crucial.
If I have given Dave Jones 5 million, Dave Jones would have taken us up. But at that time, I wasn't very interested when Dave Jones was here. So later I got interested. And the main reason I gave the 15 million is because I told Alan Whiteley then, and the board and the management, if we change the color to red, I'll put in money and I'll invest up to 100 million. My total investment up to now is 150 million. If I don't put money every month, this club will just go into...
You're putting in money every month, obviously,
This club will go into administration. So, and yet everybody is not happy.
But you're committed...
Do you think I'm happy?
No, not at all. Relegation, obviously. You're a successful businessman. You don't deal with failure usually, I assume.
I'm angry, but sometimes I like to look at it in a humorous way so that I don't get too upset.
What I found really interesting about that, Steve, more than anything really, was just the anger that he still feels towards Mackay and that whole situation, that whole fact that Mackay was the fans' hero. He references it a few times there.
Yeah, he was
and it was my money that was promoted,
It was so, I mean, we were aware of it before, but I mean, unfortunately, the whole situation was untenable, really. The relationship between them, for whatever reasons, had fractured and fallen apart. In fact, I was as much of a fan of Mackay as anybody. You have to say, in retrospect, the biggest problem was for Cardiff was that they didn't get rid of him sooner. I think you said that as well, maybe. I at the time I probably would have been would have been as angry as a lot of people.
Get rid of him. I'm saying
no, but it was just the best.
Festering situation.
It's been going on for a long time.
Well, Moody went in early October,
and it must have happened before that.
And it went on till the end of the year. So you look back and wonder maybe if Tan, for whatever reason, had actually even been a bit stronger and said, right, you go with Moody or whatever, who they might have brought in. I'm not saying Moody or Mackay deserve that, but I'm just saying from a practical point of view.
I thought there was a problem at the start of the season, and I'll tell you why. If anyone's got the Man City game taped, still use tape?
On the old VHS.
Recorded.
I got a Betamax copy.
So if anyone's got that game, I noticed there's just a split second where after we beat Man City, Vincent Tan comes on the pitch and clearly gives Malky the biggest brush off you've seen. It happens in a split second.
I've seen it as a vine, kind of like dodgy handshake.
He doesn't even, he almost swishes his hand away.
It actually appears like he sort of does that.
Yeah.
Swishes
his hand away.
Although I did hear that after the Man City game, I think we were trying, I can say it now, but there was a fractious meeting between them.
Right. So
after that, with various things, and that was the first home game. Remember?
Well, I didn't know about that, but
I've seen that
on the TV, and I thought to myself, whoa, they should be embracing and hugging each other.
On the TV, you were hugging me then, at that point, weren't you?
I don't know.
Celebrating the game, I mean. I don't want any rumours to start. You can do better than this.
I can't. So, I clocked it early doors in the season, the first game. I thought to myself, that was really strange. It looks like there's a bit of a problem between those two. So, clearly there was.
If buts and maybes, they got rid of him earlier. Tony Pulis comes in. I don't know.
That was the talk. But again, you've got to understand, there's also rumour of like Mr. Tan's involvement in wanting to select who should be going on as sub or whatever. Someone like Tony Pulis, you're just not going to get that through. It's as simple as that. You might be able to influence a young manager, but managers can you imagine? There's chairman out there been chairman for a lot longer than Mr. Tan, and probably a lot wiser in football than Mr. Tan. Could you see any of them trying to tell a character like Big Sam or Pulis or Redknapp, here's your substitutions, or here's who's playing today. Okay, mate, it happened once and then it'd be over.
Well, I mean, this harks back earlier to what I said earlier about the total storm of anger against Tan. Is that there's the shows now. There is also that interference in the playing side.
What I feel Mr. Tan doesn't understand is, let's use Chelsea. We played Chelsea. Let's use Chelsea as an example. When have you ever heard Chelsea fans sing Roman Abramovich's name? How often do you hear him sing Jose Mourinho? It is quite hard to fit into
a chant, but
how often do you hear him sing Mourinho's name?
A lot.
Correct. Now, everyone knows where the money comes from and the backing, and without that, you don't get this. But, owners in general, hardly seen and heard of once in a blue moon. Do you know what I mean? And fans will always appreciate the owner if he's putting his money into the club. Always. He doesn't have to, less is almost more for an owner. You let your manager take the credit, take the lead, and then, if it starts to fall apart, as an owner, your responsibility is to make the right decision with your chief executive, with your chairman, to employ a new manager. You sack people at the right time, and you bring in the new manager at the right time. That's all your responsibility is, really. As a club, you have a philosophy, and you bring in and select a manager who fits into that philosophy. But we haven't got that. Do you know what I mean? And I think, Mr. Tan, I don't think he quite understands that. Like him being so angry about not getting no credit, and it's his money. It's just the way it is. It's not that you're overlooked, or understated or anything like that. It's just that's the way it is in this game.
I was told that Vincent Tan was jealous of Mackay and the adulation that he received from supporters, which is, as Blakey just says, is a total misunderstanding of how the relationship works. Of how the thing sets up.
Quite a few people are saying Tan's absolutely right, certainly in terms of the transfer signings. I mentioned the Cornelius deal there, £45,000 a week.
I told you, you're never going to get away from that. You never, as a signing, no manager will get. So I said to you, innit, no manager will, even if it's just that one. There's other signings off the back of that.
Such a big, important one, wasn't it?
And it was the importance of it. Do you know what I mean? The way we were going to play, we needed that target man. Yeah, we needed that release ball, target man up front. So once he was injured, it just built everyone up even more. Right,
He was injured twice early on, and
we'll wait. We can't wait to see our new striker. Can't wait to see our new striker. So the pressure was just growing and growing and growing. And then when you see what we actually had for what we'd spent, if you had told me we spent 5 million, I would have told you you wasted 5 million quid, mate. Yeah. You know, so you might gamble on £1 million on someone like Cornelius, but anything from 500 grand to 1.5, anything more than that as a gamble, you just don't do it, mate. So, I think Malky's sound. I got on with him, I get on with him, known him a long time. I think he's done a great job at the club. I really do. Getting promotion at any stage is very, very difficult, as everyone's going to find out now. It was tried 6-7 times by Dave Jones, couldn't succeed. So Malky's done a terrific job, but if there's one thing that's going to hang around him for the rest of his days, no matter what, when it comes to Cardiff, that signing there.
And just finally on this issue, Tex, limited in what you can say, but obviously before Tan's statements there, we had the Mackay apology, all a little odd.
Surprising, came as a real surprise. The tone of the
more
statements.
More questions than answers.
Yes, I mean the tone of the statements from himself, apologising to Tan, and even more so from Ian Moody. Who also
but didn't he take the action though?
Yes, and dropping the action at the same time. Yes, and from what we understand, without then receiving any money at all, any compensation at all. So mysterious. Mr. Tan, funnily enough, had said in some earlier interviews, when everyone knows what's going on, they will be apologising to me. Well, you've got to say he was right, wasn't he? He did receive these apologies for whatever reasons, and whichever way you look at it, we've not heard from Ian Moody or Malky Mackay about it, so
the apology says a lot.
Exactly.
I wouldn't apologise.
The apology raises questions,
more
and
questions.
doubts.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
And doubts and wondering.
Although it could be a situation where, to kind of back Malky's corner a bit, it could be a situation where he's just thinking, right, I've got a situation over here. There's a job waiting for me. Without that, this is going to take another 12 months. Blah 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 blah. I tell you what. Just forget it.
That's the problem. The problem was as well, of course.
And they're saying, I've got to apologise. Okay, I'll apologise.
Malky's stock has been decreases. He's been out of the game, isn't it? It's all. I mean, let's not forget. This time last year, he's been linked with Everton, for goodness' sake. I don't know how serious they were, but that's the level he was finding himself at. Now, you go on much longer, he didn't find himself. Back at Watford or in League One. So, and obviously he's been linked now with, we don't know for some, but with Norwich in particular.
West Ham.
West Ham and Norwich.
West Ham?
As well. But I mean, Norwich, aren't they saying that they're about to announce...
he's in a similar kind of bracket as Sam. So, do you understand what I mean? Plays a more defensive style of football.
Well,
West Ham fans, that's all they're complaining about. We're not playing enough expansive football with the academy and all that. So... You wouldn't go and, I don't, that's a bit of a...
Just passing on the message, Blakey.
That's you,
Don't shoot the messenger.
Dolly, please. No more rumour mongering. No more.
No, so, I mean, he'll almost certainly go to Norwich, and we'll almost certainly be seeing him next season, which will be a very interesting...
I look forward to seeing him, because he's, above all, he's a great guy.
Well, what are the fans saying about it? Because that's because the apology thing was shocking almost to me. I thought, no matter what, although if I was in a position where it was stopping me from going into a job, I would probably just say, just draw a line under it. Money's money, whatever. Draw a line there, move on.
But the point I can see is, if you're just dropping an action to go on to another job, no need for such a grovelling apology, though, is there? Really, if you just say, well, I'd like to move on, blah blah blah. It draws a line under things. I'm looking forward to fresh challenges in football. Thank you. Good night.
Yeah.
You don't go in and go, I must humbly and beseechingly apologise to Tan. Do you know what I mean? Without some other factor being involved. That's how it appears. And of course, we don't have Mackay and Moody's sides. We have a vacuum, and once that vacuum is created,
rumours behind the scenes. So we shall leave that there. Indeed, rumour mongers, people like me, terrible people. Only a few minutes to go then.
Because that's gone quick, hasn't it?
It has gone quick.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
time
gone
flies
quick.
when you're listening to
When you-
Vincent Tan. So, no,
Shouting at you.
let's sum it up. Let's sum up the season, the year in as few words as
Disastrous.
possible.
It's
Bitterly
not been
disappointing.
enjoyable. To wait so long, 51 years is it?
51 years.
To wait so long, to sit on, see managers, players over the years struggle to try and get up and then finally get it. Fans, I remember end of last season, all the fans on the pitch, what a great occasion. Looking forward to the Premier League, I think the way it's unfolded has been very, very disappointing for all concerned. Fans, players, owners, media, you name it. I think it's been very, very disappointing for all concerned. It could have been, even with relegation, it could have been a very enjoyable season, even with relegation. Because sometimes you just got to hold up your hand and say, well, we weren't good enough anyway as a team.
As long as you're giving everything, yeah.
There is that which has been totally overlooked. We've looked at owner, chairman, chief exec, manager. At the end of the day, you got to say, when it boiled down to it, we weren't good enough. Then you say, well, we had money to spend, blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. But as a team, the team we had that was put together wasn't good enough for the league. It's as simple as that.
Not enough goals to come back to this.
So next season,
And a poor defence.
but I
And a poor
have,
defence. And the midfield is pretty
but I have said before we got promoted, it would probably be a yo-yo for a few seasons until you get a good foundation.
That's why we're not one of
Now,
those
my
yo-yos that goes down and hits the floor. Do
My
you know what I
problem
mean?
is when you're building your foundation, you got to have people who know, if you mix cement with mud, then you're going to have a pretty dodgy foundation in you.
One day I was walking through, I can't remember what game, I was walking through the Cardiff City Stadium and there's two old guys talking. Just typical fans. And I just overheard, I heard one guy say, I've been waiting for this for 50 years and I haven't enjoyed it one bit, And I just overheard that, and I was just the average fan, an old guy, obviously remembered the last time, I think, old guy. And
Sad, very sad.
and I just thought, that's it, that's really probably...
someone in the
that's your
club
guy,
now has
that's
got
what
to come
sums it
up with a strategy, a marketing plan of how you're going to re-engage with the fans, because there are so many problems, obvious problems, tackle them, deal with them, reverse certain decisions if you have to, and go into next season with no problems, no drag, what I say. Don't create drag for yourself. Go in, give the manager the opportunity to go on and win the championship without problems before we even start. Because if we go into next season wearing red, you may as well forget it. I tell you now, you may as well. I'll be surprised if we won promotion again in a red shirt, because it creates so much negativity. Fans come already unhappy, so they're not coming to enjoy the occasion. They're really coming to vent their frustration. That's a big difference.
Don't you think, though, possibly? All right, I'm not saying anyone's fickle or whatever. All I'll point out is that's the promotion season. Too many and there were obviously disaffected people who've been disaffected from the start who don't go, and I respect that totally, whatever. But I'm just saying, just imagine Solskjaer gets something going, they start the season, win, they're up there. Do you think possibly, even in their red shirts?
A white elephant is always going to be around.
But I'm just saying that might start, the background noise might fade. I don't know. You know what football fans are like. If they're going down there and Leeds turn up and they do Leeds 5-0 at home one night, it's going to be hard to be a dissenting voice going, goodness.
Do you know why I disagree with you? Because you've been down that road already. And you've gone down that road and you found yourself at the end of the road. 99% of people now are saying we want to go. It's not we want to go, we are blue. That's the point, I think, that the owner misses. It's not that we want to go back to blue. We will always be blue. We are blue. So the red shirt is of no significance really. So you can say, oh well, why not just keep it red?
No.
Because you're a blue club.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree, but I'm just saying people being people and what they are.
Just say success on the pitch will.
I don't think
that applies during the promotion
I don't
season.
think. Well,
that
listen,
same principle.
Even if they get
blue, whatever.
Even if they wear blue, even if they wear red next season, I will bet any money you won't see more than 10% of the fans in red.
No, I agree.
Then,
Everything you say, I agree. So I'm just saying success. Imagine they get Leeds down here. They beat them 5-0 home. They go, well, I'm just dreaming or whatever. I reckon you'd find a lot of that dissatisfaction. Well, I wear my blue shirt. I want blue, but crikey, look at this. They're brilliant.
You're only going to have 12,000 fans, 10,000 fans, 15,000 fans. So you might, but it'll only be the ones who are willing to come anyway. But you're still losing half your fan base, basically.
And I suppose the argument would be as well, of course, a lot of the long-term supporters are more pro-blue, whatever. So you probably
flip what you've just said. Flip it the other way, because you can go up and down. Imagine if you're in the bottom 6, struggling.
I agree, disaster.
Do you know what I mean? That then becomes not even a major problem. That becomes uncontrollable.
Bloodbath.
So
it'd be awful. I couldn't
just
even
deal with it now.
Can we end the series? This is the series,
I don't want to finish the series with the terms bloodbath. I couldn't imagine anything
Come
worse.
back next year to witness the bloodbath that is going to be Cardiff City. No, I'm going to be really optimistic at the end and say, look, I hate the blue, I hate the red and all that. I hate all that issue. But maybe, just maybe, positives. Mr. Tan, for whatever, first indication he might not be as intransigent in his views as first thought. There's the red and blue striped shirt becomes blue at home, red away, whatever. And Solskjaer suddenly finds something. They find it. They get the players in. The summer's good, and they hit the ground running next season. And and everybody starts to pull together. That's my real hope.
Indeed,
it's going to happen. I hope so.
We can't top that. We live in hope.
We live in hope.
We can only live in hope
with hope. That's all we have.
We don't have much of that either, but we have hope. It's going to be great. And the World Cup's coming soon as well. That'll be good.
That'll put a smile on your face.
That's going to be great.
Are we on a tour for the boot? Are we on a tour for the Bootroom
Blakey
for the World Cup?
Speedos?
Undecided yet. Undecided. But
we could well be.
You don't mean these lucky people are going to hear us talking rubbish about the World Cup as well as Cardiff City?
It's the World Cup. We talk football.
Get right in. Say we want the boot. We want World Cup Bootroom. Inundate his inbox.
Yeah.
Mindless.
Yeah. Wales Online and John Dole.
John Dole.
Yeah, indeed. All right, chaps. Enjoyed the season off the field, as it were.
The only good thing is no predictions.
I've enjoyed the Bootroom.
Enjoyed the Bootroom, but nothing else.
I have.
Not nothing. There's been occasions. Do you know what I mean? But way too many lows.
Way too many.
Not enough highs.
Indeed. All right, chaps. A final goodbye for the viewers, Blakey.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. Good night.
See you again.
Enjoy your summer. Thanks for joining us throughout the season. Thanks for all your comments, for challenging Blakey and Tux throughout the season when they were talking rubbish. There's been plenty of times when that has happened. As we said, we'll be having a few weeks off now, but we will be back ahead of next season. Enjoy your summer. We'll see you then.